Hey y'all, hey, what's up? What's up?
What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome back to the Takeoff, coming to you with a super special episode today. We are getting ready to go on a 2 week break, spring break for us. So we wanted to make sure that we did not leave y'all without coming to you with this episode. Brandon is actually traveling this week. Woo, 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 woo. So we didn't want to leave y'all hanging too long. But in the meantime, in between time, while you were waiting for us to get back off of our mid-season break, you can catch us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and other streaming apps. And you can go back and check out our past episodes on our YouTube channel. So do not forget to follow us on all social medias, but make sure that you are subscribed and commenting and liking and sharing all of the things on all of the pages, but especially go over to YouTube and make sure that you are connected. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and jump into today's episode of The Takeoff. I am T. Lord, why I forget my name? I am Tia Cooper of Tia Takes the World and the Wonder Co. And I'm so excited to be here all the time with my co-host. Tell them who you are, B.
Hey, everybody. My name is Branlin Dermia Mosby, and I am of Never Unpacks. I'm super excited to be here with this episode. Literally, the takeoff is getting ready to take off. Like maybe we can
Yes,
figure
yes,
out something
yes.
where we could like go live in our destinations while we're traveling, since we're gonna be
I
on
wouldn't be
opposite
mad at that. Yeah,
ends of the
we're gonna be on different. I don't even know the time difference from where I'm currently at in Abu Dhabi. I don't know what the time difference is in America, but we're going to figure it out and we can try to tap in with y'all because we definitely love sharing our experiences on this platform, but it will be dope to share it live as well. So we're going to see if we can make that happen for y'all. But without further delay, we're going to jump into the episode today. I'm really excited about it because we are talking about travel hot topics. We want to know what's got the internet talking, okay? We always talk about our viewpoints on travel, and we definitely will be doing that today as well. But we want to see some other people's situations because we always be spilling our tea. What's the tea other people got in their cup? That's what we're going to jump into today. So I'm really excited about it. But we like to start off the episode with a little motivation, with a little quote. So, Bran, can you share the quote with the people?
Yes, our motivation for today. The trip will expose the truth about places, about people, and about you. That's a fact.
Okay.
That's
Ooh,
a fact. All day,
listen.
every day. All day, every day fact. Right now. That's a fact.
Right. You know what I love about our motivational quotes is that sometimes it hits you on your toes and you be like, oh, sometimes it hits you deep, but it's still a
Took me
motivator
good.
for when you're traveling. I love that it's motivator for when you're taking the world in whatever sense that may be. That doesn't just have to be travel. That could be taken off in your business. That could be taken off on your dreams, your aspirations, all of the things. But this right
Mm-hmm.
here is deep because
Yeah, it is.
travel or the trip, travel, whatever, taking off will expose you. And maybe I should update that. Taking off will expose the truth about places, about people, and about you. Like, depending on the situation that you get in, you'll see other people's true colors. You'll see how you really would react. Because we can sit on here all day and talk about, like, well, I think that I would, or maybe I would react. But the truth is, until you get into that situation, you don't know what anybody's going to do. What do you think
That's,
about this quote, Brand?
I feel like you can put on a show and a facade for so long, right? Like you start to see the real info. Like
Mm-hmm.
people be out here real fraudulent in life. Like you be meeting their representatives all the time. But
Come on now.
take them on a 4-day trip. Day 2.5, you be like, so this how
Yeah.
you be acting for real?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know
The
this
truth will
girl.
definitely
I didn't know
expose.
this from brunch that we was cool at brunch, but now I'm 2.5 days in and like, I don't know if I like this. Or
I
you
mean,
might
you
be like,
think
it's all
about it,
good.
like going on a trip, you're essentially, whether you're staying in the same room or staying in the same vicinity of people, y'all are pretty much together way more than you would be at like brunch or hitting up the club, or even if you just go out like to have a coffee date or whatever. That is a, like you said, representatives. That is a few hours of your time compared to a few days to several days on end. So,
They're frauds, okay? Now
is
some
it
of them be
fraudulent?
acting the same everywhere we go. And
Is it
there's
fra- is it
and it's
fraudulent?
yeah, there's a level of fraud to that.
I act a certain way around certain people. I'm who I am to the point. Like, my morals are never changing. My morals are never changing. But like, I was having this conversation with somebody recently. I code switch in a situation where it's needed, if I feel like it's needed. And some people take offense with that, and that could be seen as fraudulent, but like this says, it will expose the truth. The truth will expose the truth. A situation.
Code switching, I don't think it's fraudulent. Like, code switching, I am changing up a piece of what I'm saying or how I deliver it for it to be well received on the other end. But who I am now, the trick of it is that my response is a little different. Now, that's how I be feeling about these folk at
But the
work.
response is the response.
The response is still the response. I just have to clean it up for y'all at my place of business. But if we was on the side, it'd be girl, like no L.
It's
like,
gonna sound and look a lot different.
Too. Like, don't let this beat face and a pair of pumps fool you now. Now wait a minute. I gotta give you a professional snapback. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
But no,
okay. I feel
that. Just fraudulent. Like, this is they're giving us a persona. It's not a code switch. This is who I pretend to be, and then I go on a trip 2.5 days in, and I'm somebody else different. Now, some of us just know our limitations. Yeah, some of us know our limitations. Like, I know, like, I need a nap because my people in levels be low. And I feel like my friends all know, like, oh no, she not ready. I be like, I can't people today. Like, give me a moment. Like, I need to get my people in up. And y'all be like, okay. Because that's who I am, you know?
Same as me, not a morning person. Now sometimes I could kick it in a gear, but I'm gonna start off with here's the caveat. I am not a morning person. Now, if you catch me in the morning and it's a good morning,
and because I know that when I stay at Castle de la Coupa, like, I have to be like, okay, let me be quiet.
Brian, I lost you for a second there.
I'm still here. You're still
here. She gonna get back into it. Okay, there you go.
Still here.
I am still here. Maybe the people can hear you, but I couldn't, and I want to hear what you had to say. What you had to say about me being a morning person?
I was saying, when I'm at Castle de la Coupa, like, I can't. I know that she's not a morning person, but luckily her husband is. So we be up having our tea. By
the time I come out, they be sitting on the couch with tea, chit chatting. Well, hey girl, we was wondering when you was joining. How you doing? But I know me. I know me. They know me. What Cat say? I know I'm gonna be there. They know I'm gonna be there. We all together. We got this thing. We got it together. So I think knowing people is important also, but the trip will expose the truth, and we will get into that today. And with that, without further delay, let's go ahead and jump into these hot topics. So this one I was really excited to talk about, like, so excited to talk about, because I have gone down a rabbit hole about this particular topic. So essentially, a TikTok user shared her experience of a disastrous girls' trip to Aspen, highlighting the challenges and unexpected issues that arose during their vacation. So let's check out the footage and decide who's at fault and possibly how to combat this on future trips. Now, I could save this for the end, but y'all, I have gone down a rabbit hole with this topic because, and Brian, I'm gonna have to send you a playlist or a recap because it's like 27 parts. Okay, it's like 27. It's good though. It's good. All right. It's good though. So let's go ahead and check out this piece of the story time. All right, let's get into it.
When I tell y'all, I will never take a girls trip with anybody who does not have funds. Let me tell you guys a quick story time. So I hit up a bunch of my homegirls. I'm like, let's go to Aspen. Let's do a girls trip. I'll fly out my homeboy who's a videographer who'll do our footage. Like, it'll be a good time. Everyone was generally in consensus. Cool. So now we got a good group chat going of like, hey, like, where do we want to stay? What do we want to do? And we all kind of came to the conclusion that, like, this is kind of like a relaxing time. Like, there's no real plans. If you want to go ahead and snowmobile, snowboard, ski, everyone can just kind of do whatever they want to do. There's no pressure to do any sports. One of the friend of my friend, texts me separately and says, hey girl, do you know the total expenses? Because her birthday's coming up. I want to make sure that I can afford both. So I message her back and I'm like, the rental car shouldn't be more than $50 a person. Other than that, like, we're deciding the Airbnbs in the group chat. You know what I'm saying? Let me find something within everyone's budget. I am extremely vocal in this group chat. Everyone is responsive except her. I'm assuming you're not saying shit. You're sitting here in agreement. Because if you have an issue, raise your hand. My friend was like, I don't have enough money to be doing, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. Can't finally send one, yada, yada, yada. It's $500 a person. Is this cool with y'all before I book it? Everyone says yes. She doesn't say anything. Silence is agreement in my mind. So, go ahead, book it. This was booked on the 26th of January. On the 29th, she messages me and says, hey girl, I don't think that my finances will permit me to go, yada, 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 but also I don't want to inconvenience everyone else by putting my portion on them. And so I messaged her back and I said, ultimately, it's, if it will be an extra $105 per person if you don't go, but it's your decision. Hey, turns out I'm not going to go. I can't really afford it, yada, 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 yada. So we search and we can't find nobody. So today, right, I hit sister up. I'm like, hey, do you mind paying half of your portion? I didn't even say the full portion. I said, do you mind paying half the portion, which is $262 due to the last minute cancellation? At this point, the other girls just kind of don't feel comfortable paying that extra amount because it's just something that they didn't allot for. She says no.
All right. So let's get into the mess. This girl planned a girls trip expecting ski, sip, and slay, but ended up in a real life episode of Baddies Aspen Edition. We're talking about bad vibes, bad communication, and a fallout so bad that it's been broken up into, as I said, 30 different story time parts telling the whole story. There's so much drama in this one. Bran, what are your initial thoughts?
Silence is acceptance. Okay, if you not speaking up in the chat, that means you agree.
No.
For me, silence is acceptance.
So you agree with
this? Yeah, we talking about this now. Now there are parts that I don't agree with. Now I done told you I ain't got it.
No, this is after the fact though. This is after the fact, and the person that said they didn't have something was another friend.
No, okay. Flag on the play. Okay.
Flag on the play.
Let me just make sure I understand. So homegirl planned a group trip. Mm-hmm. Her friend said, girl, I ain't got it. But there was another girl in the chat that was quiet as a mouse.
Didn't say anything. Asked about how much it was. She said she was going to go search for things. She knew that the rental car was $50 per person. Then she went out to search for the location of the house with her considered because she asked. When she put the things in the group about the accommodation, the girl that asked about the cost never responded. So
then that same girl
hit her up after the house.
After they booked the trip, comes back after it's booked. She booked on the 26th. On the 29th, she come back and say, I can't make this work because I don't got it. Mm-hmm. And now, because she not going, it's an extra amount on everybody else.
Supposed to be, because the question was then therefore put out to her, because she did also send the message, I don't want everybody to have to, pay extra, which you will see when you go down the rabbit hole of story times. And even at the end of this, because I clipped this from Tina Bean, the original creator, she talks about, well, you sent the message saying that you didn't want other people to have to pay more, which makes Tina think that you gonna pay your part. But then the girl comes back and it's like, no, I'm not paying. I can't pay that. I'm not going. So I'm not paying that. Or even, as Tina suggested, half. Who is at fault here?
The girl who didn't pay her portion. She's still at fault. Low key, I'd be messing around, took you to small claims court if I could and win.
You're gonna end up spending way more than $500 going to small claims court. It's the principle.
But you already know how I feel. Group trips of this intimate nature. This is an audition, a continual audition, honey. You will.
And girl, and the audition of it all is correct. When you go down this rabbit hole, y'all, 30 parts. Because even so, this Tina Bean puts this video up right before they even go on the Aspen trip, and basically she put the video up to say, "Am I wrong for asking her to pay her part?" Now the internet is split.
You ain't wrong for your query, but she ain't wrong for telling you no. Because the girl already done told you she ain't got it. She already said she ain't got it. So
she said she didn't have it after Tina said, "Can you pay half?" Because her initial thing was, "I don't want anybody to have to pay more." So Tina was like, so like what's that mean? And then so she asked her, can you pay half? And so the internet is split because a lot of people are on the side of silence is not agreement. And I am one of those people. I am not booking anything without getting your confirmation. So that therefore, then if I do take you to small claims court, baby girl said that she was confirmed. Outside of that, like I'm not saying I don't expect you to pay your part because you are in the group trip. But if you don't confirm, I just feel like I don't have no case to get your money from you. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is what I think. This is what I say silence is acceptance. Silence is acceptance in the space of we planned this trip and you didn't ask no questions. You didn't say nothing. You ain't do nothing. So we are organizing and planning this trip like it's a go. Now, would I book everything without a solid yes? I don't know. It depends on me and the cost differential. Because what I don't agree with here is that they did go back and ask her for money. It's her prerogative that they went back and asked her for money. Like, can you at least pay half? But in my mind, I already told you I don't have it. Or if I'm not going,
it's for a reason.
I'm not paying half on a trip that I'm not going for because I think that's a bit of ridiculous ass. But you asked,
and especially when it was before the trip happened.
Right. And it's my prerogative. It's your prerogative to ask me a question. It's my prerogative to say no. Like everybody's in the right in that moment. However, I also kind of feel like once old girl fell out, what I typically do when somebody falls out of a trip, listen, so and so can't go. This is the new cost. Are we still doing this? And for me, because I do agree that I do believe that silence is acceptance to a degree, I would be like, this is what I can do. This is what I'm unwilling to do. This is the max of my budget. So for me, something would need to come off. And then I put that out in the group. And then sometimes the group be like, you know what, girl, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'd be like, bet. You know, we figure it out that way. But I would have brought it back to the group. Like, I mean, I think this is the thing. People say things to be polite and they just need to respect their boundaries. Don't tell us I really hate for everybody to have to pay more. Do you? You don't really, you're not invested. You don't care. You don't care. Don't care at this point. Don't give us your real
I think she probably cared, but I mean the fact that she didn't have money to go on the trip herself, I care, but they ain't got nothing to do with the fact that I ain't got no money to go on this trip. And I definitely have no money to be coughing up for trips that I'm not taking. So I don't know the lady. I'm gonna say that she probably, I know me. I can't hear me and Grace go. I would have cared that people would have had to pay more. But if I ain't got it, I ain't got it. So the story gets deeper. I won't go into everything, but I do have some follow-up questions with it because of the depth of the story. So again, she posted this before the trip happened. The internet was in an uproar. The girl was in an uproar. And it was like, you just gonna call me out like that? And the girl was saying, like, you're calling me cheap. Like, you saying I'm broke. All of these other things. And Tina B came back and was like, I'm not saying that you're broke. I'm just asking, was I wrong for asking you for the money? They end up finding a person to go on this trip. In my understanding, it ends up offsetting the cost of the girl. In my understanding. If I got that wrong, somebody gonna correct me, but essentially they end up going on the trip and they have another person go who is a friend of the girl who canceled. So on the way to the trip, on the way to the airport, I don't know why, but her Uber ended up being like $200 to the airport.
Who, Tina
right?
Bean?
No, the girl that they added to the trip, the friend of the girl who canceled.
Oh,
her Uber,
they friends.
They're friends. Yes, they are friends. And I think she is an acquaintance. Sorry, y'all. She is an acquaintance of Tina Bean. So y'all done reached way down to bring on somebody else. All right. From my understanding, they had a previous trip. Tina Bean talked at the beginning of this when they went to Dirty December. And it just wasn't a great trip. They were hoping that it was like all the festival vibes and things. And they end up staying in a village and had a very low-hanging trip. It wasn't what they expected, which is why they end up trying to go on this Aspen trip. So the girl that they bring in for the trip is
They got
the
trip
person who
guilt.
canceled.
They're trying to make up for the last.
They try to make up. Trip guilt. That's something right there. So the girl they end up bringing in, she ends up the day of, for whatever reason, getting a $200 Uber to the airport. Now, on top of this $500, even though she said they weren't going to do excursions, they end up picking maybe 1 or 2 excursions to do. Now, everybody has paid before. Well, no, this one girl on the trip paid everybody's excursions. Everybody's paying her back. All right. So that means that the girl that was added on the trips needs to also pay for the excursion. So again, I think it was around $200 ish. So on the way to the airport, she is like texting Tina Bean, like, I'm trying to get to the airport. This Uber is $200 and I don't want to have to miss out on other stuff. Like, I don't want to be dipping into other things. Is it possible that you can cover my excursions? Which is like the $200. So Tina Bean, for whatever reason, offers to pay for her food and drinks on the trip. Says that the girl doesn't have to pay her back, but then says that she needs to pay the girl who paid for the excursion, which is Tina Bean's friend. The girl ends up getting to the airport late. The new added person gets to the airport late and misses her flight. She has to now get on another flight. Everybody is in Colorado, I believe, waiting on her. When she finally lands, they have to wait on her to, get to the airport because they rented this car to drive to Aspen, which is 4 hours away. So everybody's mood is already shifted. From that point on, the trip just continues to go downhill, they say, because of this girl. And that's where the 30-part story times come in. So it was a whole mess. I got to send it to you, Brandon. If y'all haven't seen it, go on TikTok. Tina Bean has a whole playlist about the Aspen Girls Trip disaster. But my questions about this, from what you know, is what is an appropriate time to back out of a trip? And should you book a trip without definitive confirmation? And what does definitive confirmation look like?
Appropriate time to back out the trip is once you get the prices. Like, you either know you got that joint or you don't. Like, I don't think you need time to figure out, can I make this work or whatever. I think for me, to your point, and like even I guess an episode like we did last week, like we were talking about some things like I would never, right? Like, I don't think I would ever get caught up in a situation where I ain't got nobody confirmation. That's a fact. Like, yeah. I'm not putting deposits down unless we are all in agreement that this is what we're getting ready to do. Deposits, payments, I am paying this, blah, blah. We are all in. However, that also doesn't mean that people can't back out at any point in time, right? Like, because things do happen. And either we make up the cost or we make adjustments to the trip. I just kind of feel like y'all were already struggling, especially with these girls. Y'all was already struggling with the base part of the trip. Y'all didn't need to go add no excursions.
So they say we want to ask and we want to do the things.
And I ain't gonna lie to you. Friend of the friend was fruit of the poisonous tree. She won't come in with me nowhere. Because birds of a feather flock together, okay?
But apparently she was an acquaintance, but from my understanding, she was on this Dirty December trip. So they all knew of each other. I think that their trip was just so bad they ain't know each other in this sense. They was worried about other things that this part didn't come up.
Denominator, girl, like no.
Oh, okay. So I definitely agree with you about the appropriate time frame for backing out of trips. Some things happen that you just can't help sometimes. And if you do know at the time of the cost, let somebody know so that we can decide if we're going to stick with what we got or go, a little lower in cost and whatever that means, whatever excursions, whatever. But then my next question is for the people who have to absorb the cost. At what point is it, if something does come up where you have already booked accommodations and things that can't be canceled, where is the point where you're like, sorry, but we not covering this because we have already booked this out and knew that we had to pay this? For example, I talked about last week on the show about the deportation from India. Because we couldn't get in, like we flew in with our friends. They walked through immigration. We stood on the other side of immigration and waved our hands and hoped that we would see them soon. We did not see them until they got back to Abu Dhabi. So one of our friends, the organizer of it, hit us up because my first thing is like, what's cancelable and what can we get back? Let me just know. But at this point, we have booked our accommodation. We have a whole villa. Like, it's a nice situation. We have booked excursions and things. So there was like 1 or 2 excursions that they could give us our money back. Everybody talked about it. It wasn't that they could cancel because they couldn't, because this was the day of the trip. Everybody talked about it, felt bad for us, and were like, hey, we can give you this much back. I don't even think it was the full cost of the excursions, but I wasn't upset. I'm like, listen, this was essentially on us and Indian immigration. Thank you so much for giving us back anything. We end up losing out on the accommodation and most of the trip, flights, all of that. But I appreciated that. But I think in some situations, some people would be upset. At what point do you think, or what is your stance on something like that? Is it case by case, or is it, listen, sorry that an emergency came up, but that shouldn't be something that everybody else should have to bear the weight of? What does that look like?
I'm definitely in the latter of that. Like, I mean, if we're talking like immigration, it's not for me to necessarily give your money back. Like, you gonna have to take the L on that. Like, sorry, that's like tough titty. I'm sorry, like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily. My initial reaction is that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's my initial reaction. Like, now if I feel like maybe, oh yeah, we'll just get this back to you. Not if it's something that could have been avoided for sure. You know what I mean? Like avoidable situations. Like this girl coming to the airport late after
which is essentially what it was, because how you miss your flight?
Right. Like, so you got to the airport late, and I live on the edge, so I get it. But
we're gonna talk about you today, girl.
You got to the airport late. Your Uber $200. We already covering your meals. You know what I'm saying? For you to do everything up, like too much. It's too
Which
much.
Tina Bean is better than me, because I'm not offering to pay for your. Like, at this point, you can either make it or you can't. And I think part of the caveat was that the girl also wanted to know, before everything, before booking stuff, was how much it would be, because she was going on another trip after this Aspen trip. So she was like, I'm not trying to dig into funds for that. I want to make sure I can do all the things that y'all can do. Baby, she might not be able to at this point, because you have a $200 Uber. Who has a $200 Uber? This seems very avoidable. This is a very much you problem. It sounds like to me.
Did she take Uber Black? What is Uber?
Girl, I was looking in the comments because I was going back and forth, because at this point, a lot of them have made their story times. It started off with Tina Bean. Then the girl that canceled made her little story time to rebut, say her piece. Then the girl who came on the trip as a friend, who ruined it for everybody, has come on to give her piece about it, because there's another caveat to it that the girl never gave the excursion money to the girl who paid for the excursions. It was after the trip. Tina Bean is like, girl, are you going to pay my friend her money? And she's like, I'm going to send it to her. Child, she ended up going on her little trip to Jamaica or wherever it was and still hadn't paid the money. And Tina Bean was like, I'm going to blast you on TikTok if you don't pay my friend her money. And so I think in between the time, maybe she paid her, but it was still after the time. And Tina Bean put it up. And now this whole story has been aired all the way out. So it's just like, so to say that, Tina Bean she's been posting receipts about everything, because the girl sent her a screenshot of the Uber to let her know, like, I know I'm asking for you to like help me out, but this Uber is really $200. Girl, they say on the screenshot of the Uber that it said Uber XL. Absolutely not. No. And then because Tina was taking her, paying for her stuff, said that she was ordering 1942 in the club. In the club.
We literally had a show about, like, if I'm paying for your food on the trip and you over here balling out, like,
no, you're not over here balling out, because as soon as I hear you say something, excuse me, waiter, hello, come back. She doesn't want that. She can definitely have a drink. What do you have? What's the well drink? Yes. What are we?
I just kind of feel like, well, first of all, knowing the information that she had another trip planned after this trip, I would have never volunteered to take care of her food anyway. Or going somewhere else. That means you have the funds. You're just not trying to dip into those funds. So you're borrowing pretty much you borrowing trip money off me that I done told
You robbing Peter to pay Paul, and I am Peter. What are we doing here, girl? Even on the I really want. Even with me telling you all of this, is so much that I'm not saying that's in the story time. But they said that she even one night they were out, like it got turned up and stuff, and she thought that everybody was drunk, and ends up saying something to the effect of, what did she say? I never said that I didn't have the money. I just didn't want to spend my money, baby.
Never
At
again.
that point,
first of all, like I said, y'all already knew she was going on another trip. Would not have volunteered.
Oh, that changes.
How would you like for us to help you? Because my other thought is like, so you took a $200 Uber ride, you missed your flight, which meant you more than likely had to pay something to rebook.
Which is what the rabbit hole that Tina Bean goes down. Like, so if you had to do this and you had to do this, that means that you never had money in the first place. Or if you did have the money, like she went that it's good, girl. I think it's something you kiki at, because this thing is crazy. It's so good. So is it the destination, the planning, or the personality that ruins the trips?
Is it the destination, the planning, or the personality that ruins the trip? It depends on the trip. Sometimes, like you said, like they went to, where'd you say they went to before? It was a festival vibe, and they stayed in the village.
They went to Ghana.
Yeah, like sometimes, I mean, destinations aren't for everybody, right? So we can have the perfect combination of people, but where we're going just does not. It's just not, elevating for the group of people that we have. Is the planning? Can the planning be an issue? Absolutely. Like, and especially depending on who you got planning the trip, because everybody does not have the same eye for detail that you and I may have, or even have the logistics worked out. Now, there are elements of the trip that I sometimes will tell the people that are with me, like, I ain't figured this part out, and I have no intention to. So don't ask me too many questions about this part. Now, if somebody else want to figure this out, please. This is the element I have figured out. A through F. G and H belongs to somebody else, or we can wing it when we get there. If you are not okay with winging it, because I am okay with winging it. If you're not okay with winging it, you might want to come up with a plan. Like, I have done things like that too. And then as far as people always have the tendency to make or break a trip, especially the right combinations of people.
And the right combinations of circumstances also.
Circumstances, yeah, but people are, if you got too many people that are party, let's all get wasted, and your trip, your group has to have balance. But I feel like group trips are like marriages. We got to be equally yoked, okay? And not just like in harmony of yoke, right? Like in our beliefs of what we gonna do on this trip, and our pockets and what we believe in, what we gonna spend on this trip, and how we want to eat on this trip, like, and what we want to participate in on this trip. Because the last thing I want to have you over there is looking like Oscar the Grouch. Like, don't be over there frowned up during the whole trip. Like, and I am not a person. I am definitely not a people pleaser, especially on a trip. So I am not a person that's going to be like, I mean, well, are you okay? What else can we do? Would you like for us to do this? No.
Say, not me, baby. Not me, baby.
Not on my private trips. Like, no, not on my private close friends trip, though. I'm not about to do all that. Yeah. Girl, suck it up. Get in where you fit in. You don't like it, stay in the room. You pay for that too.
Now, you know what, when you mention the attention to detail and things, that is one thing that, especially even early on, I recognize, because obviously, we both have been planning trips for a long time, even before we started our travel businesses. But I had a lot of clients who would be like, oh, we want to go to Tulum, or we want to go to Cancun, or wherever, Bali, whatever. We want a luxury villa. And I'm like, fair, that's fine. But I want you to understand that unlike a hotel, if you book this luxury villa, because you are telling me that 20 people are coming on this trip, and the numbers with group trips, we know because we've done this before. A lot of people don't do it, or they haven't had experiences that teach them the life lesson of you always count half and a little bit less than that. So you telling me 20 people coming, I'm expecting 8 in my mind as your travel planner. So if we're talking about a 20-person villa and then you end up you want to reserve this, put down a deposit, and then only 8 people come, you realize that y'all are going to have to cover for 16 people because it don't go, oh, only 8 people came. We only going to charge y'all for however many people are sleeping in 8 rooms or however y'all going to split it up. No, babes, they want the full cost of their villa. Now, granted, as travel professionals, as we've grown, we know that we have access to all types of luxury, beautiful things to where you can get a villa and it could be by room, or you can do a deposit and maybe if everybody don't come, you can switch it up to a hotel later. I've had to do that with clients before, which I didn't have that flexibility before I started my travel business, but even still, that is not in most cases. That is not how it is. So I think that people even doing stuff like that, like this Airbnb situation, because the girl Tina Bean even started by saying that she put down 1,500 on it when that, like, from the beginning, and told everybody that they could pay their deposits and when the final price was done and things like that. And I'm just like, at this point, send me a card in the mail. Send me a RSVP. That's your confirmation. I don't even want to text at this point with this group of friends. Y'all got to send me a bird, a raven, something that is tangible so that I can know that you are going, because I can't trust y'all at this
Owls
point.
from Harry Potter, are we?
Listen,
Ravens
a raven is
dragon.
GOT. Ravens are also in Harry Potter. You know, I'm not in a deep dive of Harry.
I
I
said
like the first
owls.
two
Yeah,
of
they
them.
do owls.
Owls. Okay, owls in Harry Potter. Yeah. I'm on the Raven. Oh, Brandon, remind me to tell you about Game of Thrones. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say that for my celebration. I'm about to switch up my celebration for today because I'm so excited. I just got so excited. I love travel. Oh my goodness. Anywho, so let's just go ahead with the takeaway from this one. I think that all of y'all probably realize, whether you have different or varying opinions on who was right or wrong in this situation, I think all of us can probably say, know your travel crew before the trip.
And Tina Bean, don't travel with them ever again, girl. Because they tried.
Know
They
your
did try.
travel.
I ain't even gonna lie, Tina Bean. They tried you, boo. They did. There was a level of tritium, and tritium doesn't even exist on the periodic table. They did try you.
Ah,
Just a
know your
bit.
travel crew before your trip, y'all. Like, unless you're on a group trip, like with the Wonder Core Never Unpacks, where you're meeting new people on that trip, but you cover your own expenses, but the everything is covered, like excursions and all of the things are already put together for you, and you can always go back with the people or person, or if it's just you who you came with, know who you planning a trip and going on a trip with before the trip. Vacations reveal real friendships, so set clear expectations, communicate upfront, and never assume everyone is on the same page. If the group dynamic feels off, opt out before it's too late, whatever time frame that is. You got anything on that, Brand?
I think you got it pretty much covered, honey.
All right. So let's move on to the next travel hot topic. And this is one that I just ran up on and I was like, oh, So this one is about airport drama over a packing hack. So a traveler attempted a TikTok famous packing hack to avoid baggage fees, only to have the plan backfire on him. Let's check out the clip and discuss our thoughts on this one. So let's check it out, people.
Stop letting these sites, social media, give you tips and tricks, because sometimes it's not gonna work, okay? This dude was trying to take in a pillowcase full of clothing and other items, which he is stating was simply just a pillowcase. And the dude was like, bro, everybody can see it's not a freaking pillow. Like, come on. They gave him the chance to pay for it. He waited all the way up until they closed the doors to be like, okay, I'll pay for it now. And then he tried to like bogart his way into the freaking I don't know what that's called before you get into the plane. And they were like, bro, back away. We gave you your chance and you didn't pay for it. And they ended up calling the cops on him.
The cops is here.
And he ended up getting escorted out. So stop listening to the internet.
Just watching your face, Brelin. So listen, I'm all for beating airline fees. You know, I'm all for beating any extra fees if we can. But when the cops get involved, absolutely not. At some point, you gotta let go and pay that fee. Not let go and let God. Let go and pay that fee. Brelin, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I feel like the airlines, sometimes I feel like these people be making up rules for people that only pay them pennies to work there. Like there is no, as far as I'm concerned, this man has on a book bag and he should be allowed another personal item. So he has a carry-on and technically he's allowed a personal item. And I can't imagine that a pillowcase.
I was about to say, I wish that we could see the size of the pillowcase.
Like now, if he out here with the pregnant wraparound joint, now that look, you did too much. Now you did too much. Come on now, you did too much. But now if he got a regular standard size pillowcase, I just kind of feel like these people at this airport is hating. But if I'm not mistaken, if I'm looking in the background, they look like Frontier. Frontier charge for everything, y'all. Like the flight be $20, but the bag be $80, which is why he took a pillowcase on Frontier. But I just kind of feel like if you get 2 items, which is on Frontier, so he probably did not actually now in retrospect, he probably didn't get 2 items. He probably got that one book bag. I think you just need to come with a plan. Like they gave you an opportunity to pay. You should have paid. You definitely don't let that door close. And then you definitely don't start acting a whole monkey because now you about to be on somebody do not fly list. Because that ain't that's not for terrorists and people. That's for regular folk too. Like, what are we saying?
There's a few people I don't play with. I ain't playing with the Lord. I ain't playing with my mama, and I'm not playing with the airlines or the airport. No, the airport. Airlines is a different story. Listen.
You should have just paid the fee. Now, but I do be feeling like these folks be making up rules. I mean, I've had my own experiences. Flying out of DXB, I make it through security with my shea butter and it's 16-ounce jar, and then I have to go through another security when I get to board because it's a plane going to the US. So there's levels of security depending on where planes are going.
Oh, baby, if
and I get down there,
London.
and that person is telling me I can't take my shea butter. That man said it has the ability to melt. I said, sir, I'm a science teacher. Everything melts. Okay, so what do we say? I can't take no plastic either. Like, makes no sense.
Okay, but listen, to that point, you gave them pushback as he did, like, because that was gonna be my point about how I would react in this situation.
I also gave them, I said, because he said he was gonna throw it away. I said, sir, I fly all the time with this ginormous tub of shea butter. I went to Kuwait with the same tub of shea butter in Abu Dhabi airport. Like, so this is not, on top of this, if this is a security issue, this should have happened at the original TSA gate.
How did I get all the way to you?
Exactly.
How did I get here?
What I did tell them was, I said, don't worry about it. I will go back upstairs and I will go buy travel sizes and I will dram my own product. So I will just come back through with 6 travel sizes of this. What I'm not throwing this away. He told me to talk to the head of security, and the head of security came over there, who was a black man, because the man I was talking to wasn't black. He asked me what it was. He said it was shea butter. We went through the whole little rigmarole. He said, well, we're going to throw it away because it's not 3 ounces. I said, don't worry about that. I tell you, like I just told him, I'm going to go back upstairs, and I'm going to purchase the things that I need to make sure I can carry my items onto the plane. And then he said, you know what? Don't worry about it. And you know, when he said that, I felt like, okay, that's because y'all making up stuff down here, because there's no way I should have made it past the first security if this is not acceptable to carry on a plane. But in this man's case, they gave him an opportunity to pay. He didn't pay the money, and then he acted a whole fool. Like,
did he act a fool? Or did he give them what you? I need to see. I need a little bit more context to say he acted a fool. And this is not me giving grace. This is me knowing that in this situation, I would have been like, why? Like, I know I would have pushed back. I know I would have been like, why can I not take this? It might have some clothes in there, but it's nonetheless, it's a pillow. What are we talking about? I can see myself standing there giving them back. Like, I can see them get. I know me, and I can see Travis on the side at some point being like, hey,
we just gonna pay for it. I can see you going back and forth 1000%. I can see you going back and forth over a standard size pillow, and I could also see your husband saying, "We ain't about to do this."
He gonna let me amp up because why are you stopping me from taking this neck pillow? Y'all sell neck pillows. Why can I not take this neck pillow?
That lady says standard pillow.
Okay, standard. My sister take a standard pillow on the plane. Also, only reason I said neck pillow is because that is the hack that is online. Is putting the clothes inside of a hollowed out.
I've seen both. One of our favorite travel homeboys, he has done the standard pillow hack as well, where he stuffed clothes into a regular pillow.
Which I don't think that it matters. Like either way,
I think
I do think it matters. I take it back.
I think standard size pillow gives duffel bag. So
yeah, I also
if I get called on that, if I get dinged on that, then I tried it. Yeah. Let me just pay. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they saying his neck pillow, like a regular size neck pillow, which as big as this man is, look like he wears size 12, he about 6'1", 230. He ain't put no clothes in no daggone neck pillow.
You know, it might have been some shirts. He might have some socks.
Big people clothes roll big, okay?
Underwear.
They are not tiny, okay?
Maybe he had a
what he should have done was took his hind parts to their bathroom
and layered up.
Put on all them clothes. That's what.
But the thing is, I feel like that's not even from his position. What I'm seeing, that wasn't even he didn't want a the solution. The only solution that he was looking for was let me on this plane with this pillow.
And that makes him wrong. Like if somebody tell you, sir, that can't happen, you need to come up with an alternative solution. And he waited till late. So now you mad because you ain't get on the plane. All of this is your fault.
Yeah. Now if they giving me a chance to pay, I'm gonna just wait just a little bit just to see like how I'm gonna try to catch their bluff or call their bluff. And at the point where I see we at BLUF. Okay, fine. Let's take this card.
What bluff was that a call, honey? What bluff was that a call? The man
the same way as you said. I'm not saying that you called their bluff, but the same way that you said, I can go over here and just get me some travel size ones. Don't worry about it. I'm taking this thing. And he said, just go ahead.
Let me tell you.
Essentially, that's what people are looking for.
For me, it was not a bluff. When I tell you, I told that man I was gonna buy them travel size. I was packing up the stuff they had unpacked. I was zipping stuff up. I was putting my jacket back on, and I literally had hightailed it to turn. Okay, it won't for me. It won't a bluff. It was. I ain't about to throw this $30 bottle of shea butter away from one of my favorite black vendors. I ain't about to do that. So if this is the rule, I'll go buy what I need. It's fine.
Which I get. I get.
But they didn't want me to. I knew. It wasn't their bluff, but I knew when he called the audible to let me on, I was like, oh, this is y'all making this up at this point. And what you really didn't want me to do, because again, I look one way, but now I done did a whole nother thing. You don't want me to call nobody and tell or report that y'all down here doing what y'all doing. For these people that be paying y'all pennies.
Okay, so with that, have you ever tried this hack?
Oh no, I would never.
Why not?
I've seen those hacks. I think I've seen you do the hack. Like I've seen like a long time ago.
I've never done the pillow.
Didn't I see? I thought I saw you put some stuff in like a travel. It was like years ago when it first like was a popping thing. I've seen other people do it. No, this is not my ministry. I have too many clothes, too many shoes, too many things, and I really don't want to lug around a pillow. It needs to be in something with wheels anyway. Preferably under the plane and whatever else is going in my carry-on. Like, no, this is not for me.
Yeah, no,
I'm definitely not by those people that are putting on all of their clothes to travel. The naked travelers. Have you heard of them? They're naked, but they're not carrying a suitcase. They are putting on every piece of clothing that they're planning to take with them on their trip. They're putting them on their body to avoid the same thing, to avoid these baggage costs or whatever. They literally have loads of clothes on, whatever. That's not my ministry either. I run hot like a fine automobile. I am not interested.
No, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. And listen, I will say that my memory sometimes don't serve me as well as I wish that it would, but I'm pretty sure I haven't done this one, this particular hack, because as you said, I want to just put my stuff in things. If I get to the point where I'm packing and my luggage scale is like, babes, no, I'm gonna either try to downsize and see what I cannot bring, or I'm just going to pay the baggage fee. Like I don't have a problem paying the baggage fee, but if I was to try the hack, I'm definitely pushing back a bit. What is the most extreme thing that you've done to avoid, whether it be baggage fees or airline fees?
That's a part of travel. I just pay the fees.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. I mean, I know for a fact I ain't trying to put no clothes in no daggone pillow. For a fact, like I know I ain't doing that. And anything else to avoid airline fees? Crazy. I probably the it ain't even crazy. We back a couple of years back, I needed to fly back to, me and my mom were supposed to fly back to RDU, and then we were coming to Dubai, and a hurricane, I swear, was coming into Florida, and so they were grounding everything. So our flights got canceled. Both our flights got canceled. We were supposed to, me and her were both supposed to fly back. That got a little wild. I was able to rebook me a ticket, but I was unable to get her on the same flight. So my brother ended up driving 11 hours back. The only thing I probably ever did was put my luggage in his car so I didn't have to pay for it to go on the plane, because that's it. And that ain't even no hack. That ain't even outrageous.
Okay. I mean, and that's okay. That's all right. Y'all make sure that y'all
sense.
put in the comments also. Let us know, like, what is the most extreme thing that you've done to avoid baggage fees? Like, let me know. Yes, replay gang, let us know. I think for me, I'm not layering up all the way with clothes, but I definitely have reshifted stuff. Like if it has to go in this book bag, okay, then we're gonna put it in the book bag. Travis, you guys make space in your bag. Okay, let's put it in your bag. Like things like that. This might be extreme. Okay, let me move from the less extreme of moving stuff from bag to bag up to the even lesser, but maybe kind of extreme, sitting in seats that are not my seats on the airplane and not paying for upgraded seats. Or the window seat, wherever I want to sit, just sitting there to see who else is coming, or sitting on the aisle to make sure other people who might not be in this space don't sit there. I also, when I get to the airport, I always tell them it's a special occasion to see if they upgrade me, because I don't want to pay the extra flight. And it's worked maybe twice, which I mean, I'm not batting a zero average, so I'm not upset with that. So it has worked in that sense. That's not super extreme, but those are some of the cases. The most extreme that I think is I, instead of paying for like an express pass, like to get off the plane, like sometimes you can pay for VIP concierge and things like that. After my wedding, as I was toting back this huge dress, I was very tired, which you can call a sickness. Tiredness can be a sickness. I let the people know that I probably should have a wheelchair because I was so tired and I could not move throughout immigration and things without the assistance of someone. So they sent me someone to wheelchair me through. I was able to go to the accessibility line. Me and
Not you got
Travis
wheelchair
and
through like you got BBL.
baby, listen, it wasn't a BBL, it was a DRESS, a big ass dress. That dress was so heavy. Like it was no way I could have stood through immigration with that. Especially like I wasn't sick. I was tired sick. And I needed that wheelchair. I cannot imagine that I would have been able to hold myself up and that dress for the amount of time that.
So you be out here beating the system where you can.
I didn't beat the system. I used it for what it's called for. It was called for people who needed help. And at the time, I needed help. So we listen, we don't judge, we learn, and we move forward accordingly.
As you like.
All right. So the takeaway from this one is that not every hack is worth the risk. Travel trends may seem genius online, but airlines have rules for a reason. When in doubt, check the policies. Saving big bucks isn't worth holding you up or getting banned from flying or traveling. You got anything else on that, Brad? Or is that on that?
Nah, and if the people ask you to pay that money, man, cough up.
Listen.
Don't get grounded.
Listen, do not get grounded. We all want to take off, okay? All right, let's move on to our next topic for today. So, Jennifer Castro went viral after a video showed what she described as a traumatic experience on the flight. During this experience, she was also filmed without her consent. Castro is now suing both the airline and the passenger who recorded her, highlighting issues of privacy and passenger rights. So let's watch the footage. This one is good to me, honey. All right.
Brazilian bank worker who refused to swap seats with a crying toddler on a flight is now suing the airline and the passenger who filmed her. The viral spat unfolded on a Gol airline flight from Rio de Janeiro to Belo Horizonte on December the 4th, when Jennifer Castro refused to give up her window seat to a young boy. The child reportedly had a window seat in another row, but insisted on sitting in Jennifer's spot and began throwing a fit when he didn't get what he wanted. After she declined, a boarding passenger whipped out her phone and began recording the exchange, berating Jennifer for her decision. Jennifer has now opened up about the ordeal in an interview on the Cola Mays podcast on Thursday, revealing her plan to take action. Measures are now being taken, she said. What I went through wasn't easy. The flight attendants could have asked me if I needed anything, or if I was bothered by the passenger, but they didn't. They stayed out of it. She added, I'm happy about all the support I received. Although there were many online haters too, I still don't know how to feel about it. I'm still trying to process everything.
Girl, this woman said, I paid for a seat and I will be staring out of the window from it. But suing someone for filming her, what do we think? Is it a new level of pettiness or is it standing on business? What are your thoughts?
I think that if the footage that we just saw is the footage that the person filmed, I definitely would consider suing them for harassment. I mean, but she would need a lot of information to sue somebody. So I'm interested in how she got all of the information of a passenger's name and.
Well, the lady is also, I think she posted it, and she's also like talking. Granted, she's talking in Spanish, I believe it is, or maybe it was Portuguese. I don't know. Did they say we're coming from Brazil? I'm not sure. She was speaking in another language on it. Whether Jennifer understood that language or not, I'm not sure. But it sounded like, girl, you could have got up out your seat to give my son that seat, and I can't believe you. Yes. And well, it said another passenger. I won't say it was the mom, but that's what it was giving. Like she knew the little boy. And from the report from the son, who was the original creator of that video, they said that she was berating her. So it was giving very much she knew it. Like I said, it was in another language. So I don't know exactly what she said, but what it was giving was you can get your seat up for him.
Yeah. No, I'm not giving my seat up. I don't care if he's throwing a tantrum or not, because he's not my responsibility. Like, and whoever, I don't know if he was an unaccompanied minor, because it don't sound like he was, but if he was, even if he was an unaccompanied minor, honey, where is your mama and your daddy? Go change seats with them and pick somebody else. Like, no, I'm not giving up my seat. And to your point, like of earlier, like we be paying for these seats. Like, there's not too many airlines are pulling back on more and more like freedoms, if you will, of what we used to be able to choose for, right? Like Southwest is getting rid of their free baggage policy, replacing it with something, but they're getting rid of a free baggage policy. So as airlines are scaling back, that means they're also in order to get these things, they're creating it as a privilege. And the privilege is a pay privilege. You're paying to play. So no, I don't really care if your child is throwing a tantrum or not. I'm not giving up my seat. And on top of that, from my understanding, if I heard this video correctly, the child came from another row. Like you had a window seat wherever you were, and you moved up, shifted around, whatever the shift was, and now you want a window seat, and now you crying. Suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah, absolutely
Because
not.
I would have did just like Jennifer. I would have put my headphones in and I would have kept going. Now that person that was recording me, I would have had something to say, and I would not have waited for the flight attendant to do something, because to be honest, that's not their job. They're not the police, right? And as long as the person is not doing too much outlandish as far as being out of their seats,
Recording me, like talking trash to me like that is not. That's
it's
not
that's not the
outlandish.
flight attendant. No, I don't think that's the flight attendant's job to,
What is their
unless it was.
job?
Hmm?
What is their job?
That's a good question. I have an old flight attendant friend. Maybe we can invite one to the show. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
because
sure they would
I'm
like to
curious. I
chime
thought
in on.
customer satisfaction and I don't know what the word is at the moment, but keeping
Cus-
the peace was.
Customer satisfaction is really broad, but there's a lot of things they're not responsible for, which I chuckle
Hmm.
at, like, because we assume as like consumers, especially flyers, that flight attendants are supposed to do certain things. Like a lot of people look for flight attendants to even help them with their bags in the overhead compartment bin. That's not a part of their job description either. And if you
Mhm,
notice, on most flights, they will not help you. Most
mhm,
of them will look at you
mhm,
and just tell, and they will guide you with words like, oh yeah, well, you can turn it this way, turn it
mhm.
they
Yeah,
never
turn.
touch
Oh,
your,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they
Mhm,
won't touch your back, like just turn it the long way, and
mhm.
then they'll go by, because from my understanding, part of the reason why they don't do that is because we
Is
get
if
on there
something
with those
happens.
heavy
Mhm.
carry-ons. If something happens to them by putting your bag up there, they're not covered by their airline for the bodily injury of that. So there's
Mhm.
a
Or if
lot
something
of
happens
things.
to your bag in between them putting it up there.
Yeah, but when I talk to my flight attendant friends, most of them specifically talk about their themselves and their bodies and
Yeah.
what's protected via
Mhm,
the airline. Like they can't call was it FMLA? Is it FMLA when
mhm,
you call out like that? Like they can't
mhm,
call in for that if they choose to pick up my heavy 50-pound carry-on
mhm.
and try to put it up there, and they throw they back out and now they're out of work. So they can't
Yeah,
collect
that
any
makes
money,
sense.
unemployment and stuff like that. So I don't think this was in the flight attendant's role to manage.
Mhm.
However, and when I say that, I don't think it was in their role to manage without notification. Like, because the way
Mhm.
Jennifer kind of said it, it was almost like even the flight attendant didn't come over and do anything. Almost like she was expecting it as a privilege for them to come over. Like, no, as long as this person is annoying me, I am going to annoy you. Would you like to help them back to their seat?
Yeah.
Because I'm
I
gonna
mean,
keep buzzing you.
yeah. I think I need more information on what the flight attendant's job is, because I definitely feel, and it may be a privilege or I may be, misunderstanding, but I would like to know more of what their job description is, in the purview of what they have to do, because I would expect, like, it's, excuse me, as loud as it was, and I have to send you the original video from the girl that recorded, but she was loud talking. So I know that the flight attendants had to have heard her, and other people were even looking around. Like, at this point, you're causing a disturbance for other people, because if I was on the flight, I'd be like, girl. And I don't know, I haven't seen a video of the tantrum that the kid was causing or having, but at that point, that's the tantrum too. Like, and I've seen even flight attendants. I don't know who asked Jennifer to change her seat, if it was a flight attendant or if it was the parents that asked for her to change. But I've seen flight attendants in situations where either the family is trying to sit together, because I also don't know the circumstance of why he wanted to move to that particular row, if his family was sitting there or something, or if he wanted to be close to someone. But I've seen flight attendants, try to help those situations by saying, hey, if I can move you either to another window seat, or even I can upgrade you to premium economy or something like that, or if I can give you something to make this work, which is why, again, I'm not totally clear on what their job is, because I've seen them like kind of try to diffuse these type of situations from happening. But I definitely don't think that Jennifer is in the wrong for not getting up out of her seat. No, even honestly, even if I didn't pay for it, if this is where I want to sit, this is where I'm sitting. Your child, this kid is not, unfortunately, and it might sound harsh, but that's not my responsibility. And me, even, one day I would love to be a parent. I don't like, I need to book my family seats together unless I don't care if they don't sit together. I cannot expect someone else to feel for me in the fact that I want my family to sit together. Now, I have heard of cases where families traveling have said that they have tried to book seats together, but whenever it was time to book the flight, there were all these different, like the seats were all spread out, like every other seat or something like that. And I'm like, how does that go down, or how does that happen? And I don't know. Do you find another flight so that you can sit together? Do you? I'm unsure. I don't know how those things work, and then if that's how this type of situation happens. But again, as the person that's being asked to give up my seat, that's my right. And if I don't want to get up, I'm not getting up. And on the other level of that, stop recording me. And if you want to record me, continue. But then the consequences are going to be the consequences. Are you ready to deal with them?
Honey, I probably would have been recording that lady back, and I probably would have been telling my followers, this lady picked the right and the wrong one today, because I got time. Because I'm be done messed around. Now, that's when the flight attendant going to come over when I get out of my seat with my camcorder, and I'm recording you. Like,
because now it's a problem.
Because this is what disrespect looks like. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's a bit much. It's a bit much altogether. Yeah, I think a lot of times, and from what my understanding of with families trying to sit together, it's usually a courtesy of the flight attendant to try and maneuver seats together, but it's still not their job to do so. It's kind of like, you asked me. So again, it's like not provoked, but incited. Like, you asked me to help you try to help your family sit together. But like, even when I've gotten on the plane and we've been in separate seats, it's kind of like, well, we'll just see, and maybe something will work out where y'all can sit together. And most of the time, the people that I'm getting on the flight, we're just like, girl, we'll see you whenever we land, right? But I get it that you want to be with your family or whatever. But to your point, and maybe I might be wrong, but I have never really seen a flight where I'm booking the flight and there's not an option for me to get seats together at some point, whether that's for pay or for free. So I get like sometimes, you know what I mean? They end up putting you in spread out positions. However, if I have the option to pay for a seat. Like, I have an option to pay for a seat on this flight. And I think a lot of families just don't want to pay for that. I mean, that's expensive.
Yeah, that's understandable. I've even seen recently when I booked my spring break flights, like, I can't remember what, it was a shorter flight, or maybe it was that my spring break? I don't know if I've been on flight so much in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it was my flight or a client's flight. I can't remember at this point. But on the flight map, it actually showed like there were hardly any seats left on the flight by the time it was time to book. Like, if you have 5 seats left, it is very possible, even if you pay. It was mine for KLM, and the seats were spread out so much, like one on this row, one over here on this row, one in the back, one in the back. There were no options to book together because all the other seats were taken. So if you get in a situation like that, then it's just like, what do you do as a family? Do you try to find a whole new airline that has seats available? Or again, do you like suck it up, buttercup? Because even the seats that I was looking at were paid seats. These were paid. All the free seats, like it wasn't even, I don't even think it was an option for free seats on this one. It was either we give you the seats that you get or you pay for these seats. And all of them were spread out. So, huh?
I mean, I was saying pre-assigned seats, like the airline will assign you a seat.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I don't have a family right now except for Travis, but we don't mind spreading out as we done told y'all. But I don't know what that would look like with me having a kid. And I might be frustrated as a parent if that was the situation. And, you pull up to the airport and you're like, I have a kid. Like, I tried to pay, or I don't want to even put things on the scenario, but either if I paid for seats so that we can be close to each other, or when I went to go and book these, there were no seats beside each other, but I need to be beside my kid. And the airlines, because they've typically said this before, I've heard them tell people, or even me when I try to get another seat, you have to talk to the gate agents that are at your gate. And then the gate agents will talk to the flight attendants to see if they can accommodate you. And at that point, if I get on there and I ask Jennifer, hey, can he switch to this seat to be closer to me? And you say no, I'm gonna be a little bit upset too. I don't know that I would necessarily start recording you, depending on the situation, but
I just kind of feel like you can be upset, but Jennifer wasn't your problem. Jennifer is not the issue. Jennifer has a right to keep her seat. And I think, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people you could be upset. You could be upset with yourself for not buying a seat, or letting the seat go by, or maybe you bought your tickets late, so now ain't no seats available and this is all available. But I really kind of feel like you're really mad because your child is throwing a tantrum and you feel like the adult in the situation should give up your seat because your child is throwing a tantrum. Like, but your child throwing a tantrum is no reflection of me, the person sitting in the seat, and really it's no reflection of you either. But it's your child throwing a tantrum. I've seen kids throw tantrums, and it's just like, "Ooh, you have to wait this out."
Right,
Like,
you better ride it out.
you know what I'm saying?
Wait till he
So,
tuck her
like,
out. You getting tired? You ain't tired yet. All right.
like, but at the same time, do I agree with Jennifer taking it as far as she is? I think that's her right, as you like. I do think it's definitely a form of harassment and it's definitely a form of cyberbullying. And she actually probably has a strong case in those two levels. Now, recording her as far as passenger privacy, that opens a whole new can of worms of being able to record things on flights, because we've been seeing a lot of things on flight. Did you see that girl naked on a flight? I guess she started taking off all her clothes on a flight.
Not it's getting hot in here. Why was she doing that?
She took off all her clothes, and the flight attendants again didn't do much. They did try to hand her a blanket, which she
did she say, was it in protest or something? What was it?
No, she wasn't in protest. Everybody thinks she was on something. There was no
said no, wasn't no protest.
Baby was she was just taking off her clothes. I'll send you the clip. I actually had that clip. Somebody sent it to me. I was like, and somebody who sent it to me said, "Ooh, this is too much," but I want to be on whatever she on, because I mean, baby was free as a
Mama was
bird.
having a good time. She was just
The
being
only thing she kept
herself.
on was her hat. She looked like us too. I just want to be very clear. She didn't look other. She looked like us. And she had a hat on with a bob, I think, and baby was stripped down.
Okay, send me this clip because I need more context. So, as you were talking about the recording of things, like, do you think that should be illegal? Like, because I mean, essentially, it's in a public space, and from my knowledge, we'll have to get some of our lawyer friends to tap in. I believe that when you are out in public, depending on the customs and laws, because we know, like in the UAE, you have to ask somebody permission to take, that is a law. You need to ask somebody permission to take their video or pictures. But do you think that should be an illegal thing, like taking pictures and videos of somebody in flight or even in just out?
I just kind of feel like there's no way to manage it and control it. Like literally everybody and their mama has a phone. They mama, they grandma, they granny, they nana, the papa. Everybody, kids got phones. Everybody has a phone. And everybody's phone is recording something. It's almost like us trying to record content in the airport, and now people be like, "Oh yeah, you can't record anything." Like, these are free zones of recording. Like, now, but you getting out of your seat to put your phone camera in my face is a form of harassment.
Absolutely. Like, and I gotta send you the video so you can hear. Like I said, I don't know if you speak another language, maybe you speak this lady's language, or you can know what she's saying. But what
I know angry in all languages.
That's what it was very much giving.
I know a cuss out in every language.
It was very much giving. She was reading her down, like, you little, I don't know what, but yeah, she was very much reading her down. So for the takeaway for this, your seat is your right, but pick your battles. If you need a specific seat, book it in advance. And when I say pick your battles, I mean whichever side of the aisle you're on. If you're asking for a seat or if you are the person being asked to get up. Now, if you need a specific seat, book it in advance. And if you're asking someone to move, lead with kindness and not entitlement. The skies are already tense enough. You don't need any added pressure onto it. Anything else on your part, Brian?
That's it.
All right, so let's move on to another hot topic. We got about 2 more, y'all. These are good. I'm so happy that we did this episode because it is crazy out here in the world of travel. So, have you ever traveled and forgot to take something out of your suitcase or bags? Can you imagine traveling and realizing that something that you may or may not have known could get you in trouble is in your bag without your knowledge? Dylan dealt with this while traveling. Let's check out his story.
States the other day, and now I might be banned from global entry, and I might be getting a nice size fine in the mail. Basically, I was traveling through Southeast Asia for 3 weeks. First, I was in Thailand, then I was in Cambodia, then Vietnam, then Indonesia, finally Singapore, had a little layover in Germany, and then back to New York City at JFK. We're going through customs, normal procedure, nothing crazy. They're checking over the visas and everything. And at some point, he's like, "Do you have anything to declare, sir?" And I'm just like, "No, nothing to declare. I never buy anything on trips, maybe like a trinket or two for friends." I'm calling the Uber when 2 Border Patrol agents walk over. The dog is sniffing around the bags and everything. And the agent's like, "How's it going, everybody?" I'm like, "It's going pretty good. You have anything to declare? Did you bring anything through that's a prohibited item or anything?" I'm like, "No." We're all like, "No, of course not." Dog takes a seat next to my bag. The Border Patrol agent reaches down, doesn't need to do a search or anything. He just grabs an item right from the top of my bag. A banana. "So it's yours." I'm like, yeah, it's mine. He's like, "All right, where's your passport?" Give him my passport. Scans it like he's doing a little checkout at Target. Like, "All right, have a nice day, sir." Walks away, and the other one goes, "There will be a penalty with that." They're not joking. I looked into it. And even a banana can get you banned from global entry and a $500 fine.
Child. Can y'all imagine paying $500 because you forgot a 50-cent banana in your bag?
Could not.
Braylon, what are your thoughts on this? And have you
That's
ever
wild.
experienced something similar, like forgetting something?
No. Yeah, no. I mean, but I also didn't. I mean, I know that they ask you, "Are you bringing in any fruits or anything?" But usually, I thought that meant like in bulk, like not one singular item. Because I feel like maybe I've had a pear or an apple or something from a
But I think it depends
hotel.
on where you're coming from and where you're
True.
going to, agricultural like type things. Because I've seen those on the immigration forms that they might give you on the plane. It's like, "Do you have fruits and vegetables?" And it's like, "Ooh,
And you're right.
child."
There's no amount there for sure.
Mhm.
Like there's not like a listed amount. Yeah, no, I've never had that happen to me. I also don't be traveling. I got enough room for all the stuff that I'm bringing. I ain't got no extra room for no extra fruits and vegetables. But that made me wonder about that girl that be getting on these flights with that charcuterie board.
But see, and
All her,
that was gonna be
all
my
her.
point. I take snacks all the time. Okay, I have taken a banana outside of the lounge, like, and I'm like, "Oh Lord, did I just need to count my lucky stars? Is that like a $500 fine?" I I take little charcuterie packets. I take little adult Lunchables whenever I travel sometimes. So, and I've also traveled unknowingly with things that I'm not sure if they prohibited, but when I got to the house or wherever I was at, I was like, "Oh, I did not realize this was in my bag. This was way down in the depths." And I've also talked to people who have traveled with things that were in their bag that weren't supposed to be, like legal things, and they had no idea. And the ramifications of what happened from that, like, are crazy. Like, I guess it don't even matter. I was about to say, I get knowingly putting something in your bag or doing something on accident, but even still, the police don't care. Border security don't,
I'm gonna
like,
say, how would they
border and
know the
customs don't
difference if
care.
you did it on
Right.
accident, forgot, whatever? I mean,
Right.
I empty out my bag every single time I travel. Like I'm getting ready to travel this week. Like when I pull out my luggage, I go through every pocket, I pull out stuff, and then I repack what I need. Like it's to me, it's usually the only thing that I probably have ever forgotten that somebody, I think when I went through security in London, they were
Mhm.
like, "Do you have scissors in here?" And I was like, "No, I ain't got no scissors in there." He was like, "There's a sharp object in here." And I said, "No, your machine is wrong. There are no
Absolutely
scissors."
not. It's you, babes. See how easy it is to forget.
Yeah, I mean, he did. So those are scissors. I mean, but they also were the legal kind. Like
Uh,
they fit he ain't throw them away. They fit the thing. They just wanted to double check that they were in there. And I think he was more so just proving to me that there was some scissors in
Girl, I
there.
told you it was something sharp. I have a machine. I know what I
Yeah,
see.
that's what it was. But
Uh,
illegal bananas and fruit. No, no.
and it's so crazy, like, you on those places that might not give out, because now I think about it, on my last few trips to the States, I haven't been given a customs card to fill out that would remind me like, oh, I probably should throw this away or make sure I don't have this in my bag. It's just like get off the plane and go through customs. So things like this, people just might not know. And some of y'all listening are probably like, why is a banana prohibited? One banana or a banana period. And the thing is, because of the agricultural I won't say effects, but because different agriculture is grown differently in different countries, you could be bringing in like parasites or diseases and things into whatever country that you're going to, and you don't even think about that because it's like, why would I even be eating this banana? It might not be necessarily in the full grownness of it, but what you are bringing back just could affect the country that you are going to. So it's really interesting to know that take, but with that, I think this one is just pretty simple. The takeaway is that customs don't care if you forgot. The rules is the rules.
I'm gonna tell you what's nasty work, sir. You
What's
just
that?
scan my passport and then you walk off, and then somebody look behind. Oh yeah, that's gonna come with a penalty. Say what? You need
You didn't want to break that down for
explanation.
me?
Can I get a ticket? Like, how do I? Where's the fine coming to?
And the thing with the video also, because it's a little bit cut down just for time purposes, but he had mentioned like, I could be getting the fine in the mail. It could become, they ain't give him nothing. It was just the scan of the passport like he was at Target. And it's like, maybe not. Like, what are we talking about? Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Like, give me a written paper ticket with a follow-up customer service number and an email. Like, because I don't even know what come up when you scan my little passport. What information is available to them when they scan up? Nobody's ever told us what's on the other end of the scan.
I don't know, but there's a barcode on there. So what is on there? Is it your registered address? Is it all of the things? That is a good question. I have absolutely no idea. But apparently what's on there is enough information for them to reach out to old boy and let him know if he got to pay that $500 fine or not. So unfortunately, I hope all good luck for him, because that is horrible knowing that you have to pay $500 over a banana. That is just, that's an expensive mistake. So make sure that y'all try to avoid that mistake at all costs, and always check your bag before arrival. Declare everything that is declarable, and never assume that snack from the plane or the lounge can come with you. A $500 banana is not a souvenir that you want. Anything else, Brad, on that one?
No.
Got
to be more careful.
Got to be more careful. All right, we're going to go ahead and move along to our last travel hot topic for today. Now, this one I told you we're going to come around to you, Brand. We coming on your street. So a TikTok trend dubbed airport theory has travelers attempting to play a catch a flight roulette by arriving for their flight's departure in the nick of time. While some have succeeded, others have missed their flights, sparking debates about airport arrival times and the risk of cutting it too close. Now, Brand, I figured this would be a great one to discuss with you. So let's watch this clip and talk about it.
So we're here in Atlanta, which literally, according to Google, is the most crowded airport in the whole world. So if airport theory works here, I think it'll work anywhere. We're going to see how long it takes to get to our gate from the beginning of the airport. All right, just started a timer. Here we go. Looking at the line for TSA pre-check. Literally nobody, guys. A ghost town. So it's going to be it's a massive line. Like, huge area. There's just nobody in it. All right, we're through security 7.5 minutes in. I will say there was definitely a lot more people than I thought once I actually got to the line. But still, 7.5 minutes, we'll take that. It does seem like they're very prepared for these huge lines. There just wasn't one though. So I don't know if I just came at the right time or what, but airport theory is looking good. I do have to take a tram to my concourse though, right? So I'm at T and I gotta go to A, but it's the next stop. So I don't know, over-under's looking like 12, 13 minutes right now. All right, we're off the tram, headed to the gate. I will say, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video. I didn't check a bag, but there was no line to check bags at Delta. 0 lines. I forgot to show it. I wish I did, but there's no lines. I gotta take my word for it. Here's a look at foot traffic in the busiest airport in the world by foot traffic. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. And we have officially made it to the gate, just under 15 minutes. So longer than like one of the airports I've done in this series, but still, that's a huge win for airport theory. Let's be honest, right? Let's go.
Let's not. This is giving too much chaos for me. Rushing to catch a flight on purpose or missing a flight altogether is not a flex. What are your thoughts, Brian? I'm gonna get to the airport, which I would call the nick of time. You call right on time. What are your thoughts with this airport theory?
I mean, I have my theories, but I don't play too much now. There's certain airports I don't play with. Atlanta Hartsfield is one of them.
Like what?
And I do
If you
have,
know it's the busiest airport, what are we
it
talking
is the
about
busiest
here?
airport, and I feel like his video is unsafe for other people who would try this theory. Like, do not try that at Atlanta Hartsfield. I don't know what day he came. It looked like he was probably there very early in the morning, like, because usually the only time that line looked that empty is probably at 5 a.m. because the airport ain't open yet. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, he also said he didn't check a bag. I don't recommend that for people who don't check a bag. I have shown up extremely late at Greensboro Airport. Now, Greensboro Airport is like the size of a hallway.
I've never been to Greensboro Airport. GSO.
GSO. I've flown out GSO, and I actually got there really, really late one time. And they were like, yeah, you probably should get here like an hour at least so that your bag.
Oh, you were there under an hour before departure?
Yeah, they were like, your bag needs to be here at least an hour so it can get on the plane. But
Just
don't worry
for that
about it.
alone.
We'll just walk the bag to the plane.
Oh, that was kind.
Because Greensboro again is the size of a matchbox. So they just took the bag. They were like, oh, it's fine. But they told me in warning, I guess more so because the airport was low-key empty. So they had somebody who could literally walk my bag to the flight or wherever it needed to go, get through whatever security it needed to go through or not. I don't know what happens when the bag goes on the conveyor belt. No, I just don't trust this young man. Michael, don't play with Michael in Atlanta Hartsville. I have my tricks around getting through Atlanta Hartsville and making sure I make it in and out of that airport in a timely fashion. I am not going to tell you my tricks on this podcast or audio because when I go through Atlanta, I need that trick and I need it to be available.
You need that in your pocket.
Yes, I can't tell you all of my secrets and all of my hacks because then what will I use? All right. So do not trust Mr. Michael though. Look, I do get there when I need to get there.
What is your like cap of time before your departure? What does that look like for you internationally or domestically?
What the man told me in Greensboro, I make sure my bag is there at least an hour before the plane leaves. So if I'm checking
for international flight,
yeah, because a lot, and I will say this:
an hour before the plane leaves. Okay,
my bag needs to be checked an hour before the plane leaves. Yes, at least an hour. Because one thing that I've learned, especially with international flights, and this is the other reason I don't rush, is because a lot of the terminals only open the gate. They only open up 90 minutes before your flight anyway. So there's no point in me getting there 3 hours ahead of time. For what reason? If you're opening up 90 minutes, you remember before Abu Dhabi rebuilt this airport, which is gorgeous, by the way. And if you haven't seen the airport, watch like the newest Mission Impossible because it's highlighted in that movie. But there was a time at the old airport, those queues would not even open until an hour and a half before the flight. Like you couldn't advance, you couldn't check in, you couldn't do anything. You just had to stand there. That's the same thing at DXB Terminal 1. DXB Terminal 1, unless it's like extremely crowded major flight, those flights that are flying to like smaller countries, I'll air quote that, they don't open up until 90 minutes beforehand. There is no point in getting there any earlier because you can't check in. And there's no place to sit in Terminal 1.
I tend on this one. I tend to agree, and not for my love of the lounge either, because I definitely understand if you don't have anywhere to go. But I don't. Terminal 1, I don't know. I mean, you know DXB better than me, but even in the old Abu Dhabi, and when I've flown out of different terminals in Dubai, it was my recollection that they opened up minimum 2 hours before. I've never had an hour and a half because they typically close down is an hour before before the flight, like you said, but I haven't had that experience about the hour and a half is when it opens, and that I can remember. Again, my memory can be spotty, but I have had situations where I showed up maybe that 2 hours before or maybe 2.5 hours before, and they didn't open up until the 2 hours, but the line was so long that by the time I got through, I wished, or my next plan for the next time I got to the airport was I'm getting here 3 hours before so that I can get in the front of the line so I don't have to wait all this time. Like, yeah, maybe they don't close until an hour before. If they don't close until an hour before, even if I get there an hour and a half, if these flights are so packed or if they're servicing different, flights through these two counters, then the lines are super long and I'm still cutting it close. And I don't like that chaotic feeling. I don't love it.
I will say also, just to be clear, they don't close an hour before. They just recommend you try to be there an hour before your flight. Now they're gonna push.
No, Travis just had this with his passport. They definitely closed, and that was actually
not an hour before the flight. They don't close an hour before. I've been standing in line an hour.
The check-in desk. Maybe everybody's different, but this just happened. Yeah, we was just on the show.
Desk doesn't close an hour before a flight. Like I've literally, because I'm telling you, I get there at an hour before the flight, an hour and 20 minutes before the flight, hour before the flight. The lines are usually not closed. They'll still let you go through. Like they'll let the bags go through. They'll let you go through, because once you get through security or once you check in, your job now is to make it to security and make it to the plane before X, Y, and Z. But they don't I don't want people to think like you get to the airport and they're closing down an hour before the flight. No, those things still be open. And I know, because I be in line with these people.
Maybe from your experience, but again, you can't tell me that this just didn't happen to Travis 2 weeks ago. But they closed it down. They would not let him through an hour before the flight. And it might have been 90 minutes. I wish I could ask him in here. It might have been 90 minutes. They closed it down. And it almost happened to me months ago whenever I was going with him to Doha. I left my passport.
So like 90 minutes before a flight, they're closing the check-in counter. So the flight doesn't leave out an hour and a half later, and they closed in check-in for a flight.
Yes.
I'm telling y'all, that is the window of time I get to the airport. I've never been.
It may be, and again, it's never happened in life that you haven't experienced that somebody else has. I just told you it happened 3 weeks ago with Travis. I remember y'all can take it as you will. Braylon has had a different experience, which is why I want to talk about this airport theory. I don't think she showed up 15 minutes before, and again, this could be just as you talked about in another topic, them doing differently from different airport workers, but I promise you, he could not get on the flight.
I thought, from my understanding of what happened with Travis, was that, this is what I thought I heard in the story, was that by the time you were going to get the thing to him, the gate would have been closed, not the check-in counter.
No, the check-in counter. They won't let you through the check-in counter at a certain
hour before the flight. That's wild.
Yes, Qatar, and maybe it's just Qatar Airways, because that's what happened to me, because I had to come all the way home. I realized almost close to the airport that my passport was not in my bag. And I was like,
"Oh, with these passports in y'all bag,
girl."
I got bananas, but don't remember the passport.
Girl, listen. So, I left mine, and I don't remember if he started the check-in process, whatever ended up happening. I ended up jumping in the taxi with the taxi guy. He took me back, flew me all the way back, and they were like, I had a certain window of time because they were closing down, and I can't remember. I'm asking. I can't remember if it was an hour or an hour and a half before that they closed it down, but yeah.
And that's usually what time most gates open. So that's wild to me.
Brand, listen, y'all. You might have to do the research for yourself. I don't have
to, because I'm the person that gets.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about our listeners. I'm talking about the listeners, because we both have different experiences. So that's just something y'all gonna have to research for yourself.
What you're saying is, for a traveler would need to get to the airport 3 hours in advance, because an hour and a half they're closing down the check-in counter. That's some nasty work. I'm just saying, for somebody who never gets to the airport 3 hours in advance, international, domestic, or whatever, I have never seen an hour and a half closure on the check-in counter. I've seen it at the gate, but not a check-in counter, especially if the gate, you got to take like the bus. Them buses they do now, that boarding thing is a whole nother different monkey.
Yeah.
But I get to the airport an hour and a half before my flight. That's usually hour and a half is my sweet spot. 2 hours is like I gave myself extra time that day.
King Cooper's in the house. I just want to, because I don't mind. I just want to know, when you missed that flight to Bahrain, he was flying out of Abu Dhabi. How long before the flight left did they close the gate? And who was you flying with? That might not have been Qatar. This went to Doha.
But generally, it's an hour. They'll tell you an hour, but if you press them, they'll give you 45.
They don't be playing. Maybe it's Abu Dhabi. Well, no, you said you flown out of Abu Dhabi before too.
I guess they're at an hour and a half.
Well, I mean, you got 30 minutes, so Charlotte, that's enough time for y'all. So either way it goes. Thank you so much for your. I just wanted to make sure I ain't get it wrong, but no, they will shut that thing down. I know Qatar Airways. Are they an hour also, or an hour and a half?
Yeah, but like I said,
if you press them,
they'll give you a little bit extra.
Pressing you as in you don't got the passport.
Counter, not the gate, right? The check-in counter.
This is the check-in counter, because I mean he couldn't get to the gate because we didn't have our passport, so we couldn't even get
somebody
through.
who's planning to get there. If the gate shuts down at an hour, what is the time frame you need to get to the airport? If the gate closes an hour. I
mean, because I would say, I guess you could get there at an hour if you're in line. I don't know. I do at least an hour 15. That's just because y'all don't. My chaoticness can't go up that high. I get there hour 15 just so I can make sure I'm in the line, because I wouldn't want to arrive at the airport an hour before and then they don't even see me in line, and I don't even have because depending on who you fly with, some people be nasty. Some gate agents don't be with it. Like, I've had an agent that asked me before, like, why are you here? So, like, if I had to show up late, and I think it wasn't that time that I left my passport. It was another time. Oh, whenever that time that you had to get the car, or what do we have to do? We had to do something because we was running super late on some trip. I can't remember where we were going. You don't remember that? You picked up the car from the airport? We was running late. Roy was running late. You kept the car on. Was that spring break or something? And you picked up the car from DXB.
That was another one. I ain't get there to an hour in advance, and that line was out.
No, it couldn't have been Cypress because I don't think you was with us. Because the car stayed at your house the whole time.
Oh, the other, that y'all still got there like an hour before check-in.
But what I'm saying is, when we pulled up, the gate agents was like they be rude sometimes. Like, why you pushing it? Like, ma'am, are you checking me in or not? What's up? So I don't know. I think an hour, if they close an hour before, at least be standing in line an hour 10. That's me. I don't like the pressure. Even thinking about this is giving me hives up my arm. If it's an hour for you, then Brenley, you saying that the most time that you'll get there is an hour before, like standing in line, is at the hour mark?
Well, like my flight on Thursday is at 11 p.m. My goal is to get there no later. I usually try to get there between 9:30 and 9:45, and the gate is usually open. And typically, I will also say I know they're open because they're checking in multiple flights. So it's not just one flight they're checking in. So if it's like United Air, they're checking in every flight that's coming for United Air in that window. So the gate, that's why I was saying I've never really seen it where the check-in counter is closing, because they're literally checking in all of their flights for that window. And what usually happens is, and this is the other reason why I be giving myself a little bit of cushion, my other level of cushion. Again, don't be me. Don't be Michael either. Definitely don't be Michael.
Don't be Michael.
Don't be Michael. You don't have to be me. But the other reason I give myself cushion is because I know they're open. They'll typically move people like me to the front of the line. So they'll be like, whose flight is boarding? Who is on flight X, Y, and Z going to Jersey? And I'll be like, oh, that's me. And they'd be like, okay, come to the front of the line. Which is, that's why I'm saying I know the gate don't be for me on the flights that I be on. I don't know what airline y'all was on, but the airlines I be riding is multiple flights leaving from that place. Now you got only one flight that's going out. Maybe I was
about to say, now y'all can't take that for everything, because unless you know that those counters have multiple flights, unless you know that for a fact.
Because essentially, typically, most of the time, the people that are checking you in at the welcome counter, unless you're at a major airport like DXB, but when people are checking you in at the check-in counter, they're also managing the boarding gate. So those people do have to leave the check-in counter to make it to the boarding gate. So I do get that. So it definitely depends on, I would say, the airline, but I fly airlines that be sending out multiple flights. And so they welcome counters be open. Cause baby, I feel like even Amsterdam, I know I didn't get there until literally like an hour, 45 minutes before that flight took off. I know I didn't get there till like an hour, 45 minutes. Like not an hour and 45 minutes, like 45 minutes to an hour. Cause I was in the lounge straight up chilling. Like I literally saw y'all at the gate. I got there because I was like, there's no need in me even finding where y'all are. That's how late I was to the airport that day. There's no need in me figuring out where y'all are because we literally had like 20, 30 minutes by the time I made it to the gate. Don't be me. Absolutely don't be Michael at Atlanta Hartsfield.
The takeaway is, if you like living on the edge, do like Brandon. That is not what my notes say. If you like living on the edge, this theory might work for you. But for most travelers, well, for me, stress-free travel starts with giving yourself time. Security lines, delays, and random mishaps can happen. So don't be the one that's sprinting through the airport praying for a miracle if you can help it. All right. Whew. How you feel about that, Brand? You got anything else for the takeaway? Because you might have something on this one. This your ministry.
This is what I do. I do not recommend what I do. Don't do as I say. Don't do as I say, not as I do. Okay, like I already know for even on Thursday. What I told y'all, my flight leave at 11. I have no intentions of being at the airport no earlier than 9:30. I have none, zero intentions. And actually, I literally, it's so crazy you even brought this up. Today, I said to myself, I might actually need to push for 9 on Thursday because it is peak travel season for the area. So everybody and their mama is getting ready to go on spring break. So you're talking about every single school, all of these people, we all kind of take breaks at the same time, which means the airport is going to be hyper active more than usual. So I probably need to shoot for 9 instead of 9:30 because 9:30 mean I ain't gonna get there to 9:45, and my flight leave at 11. But I'm gonna look at the boarding call because there's some specific numbers I search for. Don't be like me.
Godspeed.
I have no intention of getting there 3 hours early.
Well, let's go ahead and move to the part of our show where we celebrate. So this is our celebrations portion of the show. Progress is progress. Clap for yourself at every stage, at every mile. Give yourself the things because you absolutely deserve it. Bran, what is your celebration for this week?
My celebration for this week is I'm just so grateful that it's spring break. And I'm going home. I'm going home for a week. My friend is turning 40. My godson is listening, and I'm excited to participate in all the events. I'm very excited about seeing the red clay from the sky and the green pine trees, honey, because those are my favorite things to see from the sky when I fly in North Carolina. So random, I know, but it just means it's home. That's what it means. Red clay is not everybody's state, okay? And we can see it from the sky when you fly in. And then the next week, I'm not quite sure. I'm not ready to share exactly where I'm going yet. I'll tell you guys more probably when I get there or a little after I get there. You know how I feel about security. I ain't got no big bodyguard yet. We're on our way to having big bodyguards traveling.
Hey, big bodyguard status. DJ Earhorns for that one.
Yes, but I do have a very relaxing trip planned, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. And hopefully, I'll be able to go live, or Tia and I'll be able to go live together, just from on location, just to talk a little travel, whatnot. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to right now I've been booking rooms that look like rest. Like I can go there, I can read a book, I can just relax, I can put my foot in the plunge pool and just be like,
I love that for you. Congratulations on that. That's good stuff. Spring break is the celebratory time. I'm happy for that as well. Even though I'm not in my capacity as a full-time teacher now, I do still work, people. I think people be mistaken. I do still work, and I am still working in education now. more updates on that soon. But yeah, I still have been working in education. So it's
Yeah,
going to
she
be
like
nice
keep calm or she keep a job.
all the time, baby. Okay. Can't be without one. So I'm excited about spring break as well. And I feel like it's been a while since I've been anywhere. Like my goal for this year was to, 2025 was to travel somewhere each month. And I wanted to pick up on my solo travels, but just with work and just making sure that as a entrepreneur, I am not spending all the coins that I get. I've just been trying to be conscious. So the latter part of the year will look a little bit different, I think. But anyways, my celebration. So I'm not telling y'all also exactly where I'm going. Y'all make sure y'all follow both of us on social media so that y'all can tap in whenever we do share. But one of the places I'm going, I won't share all the places, but one of the places I'm going, y'all, I had such a moment today because I've put the trip together, all right, meticulously. I'm very excited about it. I was so excited that I could get it in the budget that I wanted, and I'm able to get in 4 different countries. Like that is a thing that I love, especially as a travel professional. We have access to a lot of things that regular consumers don't, that are not only allowing me to get these trips at a benefited price for me, but I'm also come back to a check, which I love for myself. So that's amazing. But today, when I was looking at stuff, so I like to ask Travis what he likes to do on trips. And most of the time, he's like, just send me the itinerary. We've gotten to the point where we know each other's travel style so much to the point, like, because Travis is the type person, he's like, I could stay at home or I could go on a trip. And I'm like, how is that even a thing? I'm presenting a trip. You go, you say yes, that should be it. It's a no-brainer. But he's like, no, I could absolutely stay at home. So what we've done is kind of like balanced out the fact that when we travel, it's not always go, go, go. And because of that, he gets to enjoy the times that we are adventuring out when I find places and kind of surprise him with it. And I am enjoying like sitting still with him even more. So that's nice. So I asked him what he wanted to do, and he was like, I don't even really know where we're going. Like, I sent you a 15-page document. And he's like, and I still don't know where we're going. So I'm looking up the things or whatever. And I knew that where we were going was going to be in a place that is around certain filming spots of one of my favorite shows, Game of Thrones. Me and Brenlin are Game of Throners. We love it very much so. So I knew that it was around the places, and I had looked up like an excursion that would take us, here, there, and yonder. But baby, today I was looking up stuff. Me and Little Chatty, aka Chat GPT, was talking. And I said, Chat, I asked it something, and it gave me some feedback to say along the lines of, you could go to this restaurant and have a view of the Red Keep. And I said, King's Landing, Red Keep? And Little Chatty said, yes, girl. And yes, Little Chatty talks to me like that. When I tell y'all that my heart started fluttering. So like people talk about like traveling and being able to go to places that they only read about in books or saw in movies or on shows. And y'all don't understand how much I love Game of Thrones. I've watched it 4 times from the beginning to the end. 4 times, y'all. I love it so much. And now I might go back and watch it again because of this trip. So I'm so excited, and I'm excited that I'm getting to plug in something that I loved and seems pretty mythical, but it's an actual thing. I called Travis right away. I was like, he sent me something. He's traveling this weekend. He sent me his flight information. And my response was, I need to call you right now. And I didn't even wait for him to say if he could talk to me or not. I called him and I was like, I need you to listen to me. And he was like, what? And I told him, and he was like, oh yeah, that's it. Well, I'm ready for that. So we are both excited. We're happy. Like, I know that probably seems like a weird celebration, but I obviously love to travel, but being able to connect different things that I've seen, experienced, love in life with my travels. I'm excited. I'm celebrating, and I can't wait to share the journey with y'all. It's gonna be a time. So that's my celebration for this week. That I'm getting to experience real life love in travel. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
It was a little muffled with the claps.
Oh,
I'm not
Oh,
sure.
sorry. I was just saying that I'm just excited that I get to experience something that I love in real life through my travels. It's always nice to connect those dots. So, yep, that's my celebration for this week.
I was gonna ask you, the one of the things, there's an account on Instagram, like film something. So I was gonna recommend, especially anybody who ever does like these movie set things, they actually travel around the world and they take pictures of wherever the set is.
Okay.
So they have the set of the picture and then they put the picture up in the actual space and it kind of like matches up. And then they take pictures around the world of stuff like that. And I feel like they've definitely done a Game of Thrones one for sure. I want to double.
Are you
I think
looking
it's
them
called.
up?
Yeah, I think it's called Film Tourism. That's their Instagram account. Film Tourism Us.
Film tourism. Let's see.
But it's really kind of cool. Like they take the pictures from the show or the movie, and then when they're in location, they show that picture, and it's literally like fits where it was supposed to be filmed. But I was gonna say, even for you, like there's definitely one with House of the Dragon that just came out. Did you find the account?
I did find the account. I'm on here scrolling through their highlights to see GOT Studios.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I see you just said this to me. Okay. Yeah, I love Game of Thrones so much.
So maybe you can find one, and then maybe you can find it before you go. You have enough time to see if you can find what view you should be getting and match it with the scene from Game of Thrones. It would be really cool. And
Now
tag them
I'm
as your inspiration.
sad. I will. Thank you. I'm sad because this part is showing like tourism Ireland, and I went there and I did try to do some Game of Thrones things, but it wouldn't have been this, and I wish that it would. Come on, Dragonstone. Okay, yes, I'm definitely gonna do a deep dive on this to see, and I will definitely be tagging them if I make it to any of the places that they suggest, because
they do a lot of Game of Thrones stuff. Game of
so
Thrones, Harry Potter, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. They be doing all types of stuff.
Okay, all right, I love it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move along. This turned into, I thought this was going to be a short episode, but we had things to say and we said the things. So we're going to go ahead and get to our episode recap. If you're just joining in, or if you're just trying to figure out what was some tips that they gave, we're going to give them back to you. So the first one that we have is not all friends are travel friends. And that's just a fact. Know who you're traveling with. The next one that we moved to was that some hacks aren't worth the risk. I don't even know if you can vet travel hacks, because I think that's the point of them, is that they're hacks and you see if they work. If they don't, just take it with, make sure you budget. Budget in case you have to pay and you don't get, and the hack ain't hacking. Okay. Our next tip was your seat, your choice. That's it. That's all. Like, you get to decide. Don't let nobody pressure you. All right. Decide what you want to do and stand on business. All right. Next thing, always check your bags, and not checking as in team check bag or team carry on. Check your bags as in look in them little pockets and them crevices. And when we say check your bags, not just your suitcases, check your purses, your book bags, things that you normally travel with. Check those things so that you don't end up slipping on a banana or with a banana. All right. And lastly, arrive early or risk chaos. Now, this one is as you like. Up to you. All right. You heard our banter today. If you didn't, rewind that thing so that you can go back and see what you would like to choose. But, some people work in organized chaos. I'm going to just say as you like, as Brandon likes to say. So that is our episode recap. I'm going to throw it on to Brandon to take us out. Brandon, you got some things for the people that you want to say?
Yes. So number one, this is indeed the Takeoff, and we talk all things travel every Friday. We tried something new this week. This episode is coming to you pre-recorded, because y'all, we are taking off this week and next week. And so we're going to see little pieces of the world. Some of it's home, some of it's news, some of it's theme, some of it's relaxing, might be a little beach involved. Okay. Mm-hmm. But we are doing all of those things, and you can catch us on every Friday. Not every Friday, but you can catch us on the Fridays that we're available and we haven't taken off on the ground. Okay. And you can catch our show because we talk all the things. And as you can see, or have you heard, we have a lot of lively banter. We don't always agree.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. But one thing we do agree on is there is a whole lot of world for you to take, and you might as well never unpack while you're doing it. Okay.
There we
So
go.
we agree in that aspect. Please be sure to follow us on social media. You can follow me at Never Unpacks and follow Tia at Tia Takes the World. That is on all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the things. You are watching this currently on YouTube, the YouTubulars. Okay. Be sure that you like, share, subscribe. Hey, and give it out to the people. Okay. Give it out to the people. Let the people know that we here. And we are trying to up our subscribers and our following over on YouTube. So be sure to go there. Also, you can hear our podcast on your favorite podcast channel or network. All right. We are on Spotify, absolutely, and Apple Music. Yes.
Right now, we're going to up that thing up. Don't y'all worry. We're going to give y'all more options. But for right now, go ahead and subscribe and leave a rating.
Yes. And leave a rating and let us know your thoughts on the episode. The other thing is, the beautiful part about what I love doing with Tia each and every Friday is that travel is not just a live for y'all to hear on Friday, but it's literally embedded into our lives. We were doing travel for free and for fun and for free. And then we made it our business, literally. So if you're interested in joining the travel business and are interested in being coached and developing your entrepreneurial skills in the travel world, be sure to visit thetravelagentworkshop.com. You can use sponsor code Never Unpack for me, or you can use sponsor code Take the World for Tia. And this will give you access to more in-depth information on joining the travel business. Along with, once you decide to join, you receive either of us as your coach. And we would love to guide you through this wonderful world of travel. You heard Tia as she was booking her trip, talking about booking her trip and all of the different things that she had access to that are just not available to you as a regular consumer. Even in building my trip over the next 2 weeks, I was also accessing these things. I'm asking for these different rates. I'm getting into different rooms. I'm talking different prices, and people are willing to do that with me because I have the credentials and Tia has the credentials of a legitimate and legal travel agent, and credentials happen quick. So even if you happen to join, you go to travelagentworkshop.com, you watch the first video and you said, baby, oh, I'm game, put me on. As soon as you sign up, you will be receiving an email that says, hey, here are your credentials. Welcome to the world of travel. And we would love to welcome you with open arms and coach you through that process. As you can see, I got something flying around. Y'all, open the door for my dog who ain't outside. Y'all saw Nova. Say hey, Nova.
Hey, Nova Jean. I wanted to say hey. I ain't want to interrupt the show. Hey, girlfriend. Hey, Nisi Poo.
Yeah, so Nova and I and her auntie Tia would love for you to make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Direct message us, follow us on socials. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you feel about the episode. Give us a like, y'all. Tell us your thoughts. Communicate with us. Catch the replay. And everybody's catching the replay low key, right? So it's the play and the replay. And if you watch it and you like what you see, share it with somebody else. Let them know.
There we go.
All right. That's all I got, Tia. Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't. You didn't. I think we hit everything, y'all. I really love this episode today. I love these Fridays or whenever we can take off and talk taking off. So I'm a little bit sad that we won't be with you for sure for the next 2 weeks. So FYI, we're off for 2 weeks, but we will try to tap in with y'all wherever we can in our travels. But until then, we want to leave y'all with a little affirmation if you decide to take off. All right. Whatever that means in life. All right. So the affirmation for today is move smart, travel drama free, and stay ready. All right. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. All right. Yes. Stay ready so you don't have to what? Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Hey, I love it so much. So thank y'all again for tuning in with us. We can't wait to get back with you. We hope that y'all enjoy y'all's next few Fridays and are ready to tune back in with us. If you're watching this, by the time we tune in next Friday, make sure that y'all are liked, subscribed, commenting, all of the things, because it costs you absolutely nothing. Okay. Thank y'all for sticking with us. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Peace. You're watching The Takeoff.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you stay locked in for the next journey.
And if you're ready to turn your love for travel into a business, Visit thetravelagentworkshop.com and use sponsor code
Take the World or Never Unpack,
and let one of us guide you on your travel entrepreneurship journey.
Until next time,
this has been The Takeoff.